Hello, hello, my green skins. And today we are doing, what are we doing, Dark?
What if Gargoyles was a 90s live action movie?
Or what if Gargoyles was a movie? We had an argument about that on should it be animated or not. So we are going to be doing a Gargoyles animated movie on basically something to add to the series and a little love letter to the group. So, what was your feelings towards Gargoyles? We'll start with Nessie.
I loved Gargoyles. My mom didn't. My mom didn't want me to watch it. Again, I've talked about how she was super religious when I was a kid, and she did not like the idea of gargoyles, even though, ironically, if you look at the origin of gargoyles, you'll see that it actually comes partly from Christianity. I'm just saying. That's why gargoyles decorated cathedrals. But I'm off topic. Okay. I loved it. I thought it was a great show, good action, good acting, great characters. And almost every episode grabbed you from the beginning. So, yeah, I mean, it's very nostalgic for me.
So, Dark, what was your thought process towards Gargoyles?
Well, my story with Gargoyles is interesting. I'm still kicking myself for not having watched it back in the 90s when it was new because and not because I didn't like it, but because unfortunately for Gargoyles, my attention was taken away from other shows that where I was at least airing at the same time, primarily shows like Batman, Superman, Beast Wars. So the animated series. So so of course my younger self would have preferred just picked those shows over Gargoyles. I watched Gargoyles less than a couple of years ago with Nessie here. We had a watch party on Discord.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. And I can honestly say Gargoyles is a great show. I wish I had watched it. I wish I just wish it was on at a more convenient time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I keep telling him he has to watch. He has to watch it. Get his hands on a little series called Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Oh, for
So
fuck's sake.
I will never stop until you watch at least 4 episodes.
No.
So
I've actually seen episodes primarily because it was on before or after what I was watching. I am not interested.
all right, so we got ourselves a rough idea. Now, as for me, for Gargoyles, it was the only honest fact on the matter. This was the only reason I ever watched this. Like Gargoyles was the reason I stopped watching anime because at that point I was hardcore into anime and the Batman animated series. I was into X-Men. I was into everything that wasn't Gargoyles. Gargoyles was the first time I ever looked at Disney cartoons and said, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to have a look at a Disney cartoon," because I've never ever thought of liking Disney cartoons up to that point. So at that point, I just enjoyed it, and it was actually like it was one of those few things where it was one of the hard episodes to like stations to watch because it was one of those stupid annoying little versions of gaming where you couldn't not gaming, sorry, videos where I had to watch it in a way that was really hard because stations weren't showing gargoyles or Disney cartoons until certain times. So by the time I had to watch it, it was on other stuff. So I had to kind of like figure out what channel had what. I had to. It was hard to get cable TV. We had to use the rabbit ears. You know how it is. It was just one of those things. As when you're one of those younger individuals, it was a bitch to get your hands on for me. And then when I wasn't able to watch it, it was rather enjoyable. So first thing we do is start with the story. We have to figure out how we're going to do said story. Now, my thought process is before we get to anything, what do we want to do for the story? Do you want to do just the? My thought process is first 4 episodes. What do you guys think?
What
I
happened in
think
the
first
first
four
four
episodes would
episodes?
be. Oh, go ahead, Dark.
So many things happened in the first 4 episodes. It would be really hard to condense it into a 90-minute movie or even a 2-hour movie. So I think you gotta pick what you want to focus on. You
Well,
gotta
no,
pick and
because
choose
you
carefully.
focus on. I would say you start with this is why I say first 4 episodes, because that gives you a little bit of everything. That gives you the whole series and kind of gives you a nutshell what we're dealing with. You got the
Well,
how they became gargoyles, which I believe was 2 episodes, was it not?
But my thought process
as
is because you've got a situation where you've got to show their backstory and how they ended up in modern times, and then they have to
Yeah,
adapt to
episode
modern
one and
times.
episode two.
Like these
Episode
things,
well,
one and episode two.
honestly, I think the series did a good setup.
Yeah,
If you cut out the unnecessary scenes, I think the series did it well because it doesn't start out with them in Scotland. It starts out, if I believe correctly, it starts out with Xanatos putting them on top of his castle.
yeah, it
And
does.
then we find out about their past. But I mean, you have Goliath's narration 1,000 years ago, superstition and the sword ruled. Like, you have his narration in the beginning, which kind of helps with the backstory, which you could do. You could
Yeah.
open it with like amazing flashes of like maybe like lightning showing the gargoyles and the different scenes of what happened to them. And then kind of do like and then we woke up in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And or
No, we
this is
got
how, or maybe until one day a genius billionaire philanthropist put us on top of his castle in New York City. Just do it in flashbacks. If flashbacks are very handy, as the writer in this group, okay, as the writer in this group,
one
I
of
can
the
honestly
writers.
say flashbacks are very handy if done tactfully and done well. And honestly, having the character say, well, it happened long ago, and then tell their story doesn't really work. You'd have to have it more be like, what happened to you? And Goliath goes, it's a long story that I don't want to get into. Let's
I,
just say we were betrayed. And then maybe focus on the flame and do a flashback to his past. Like, and then she's like, you were betrayed? What happened? That's a story for another day. Like,
no,
you know
you
what I
know what?
mean?
You've literally convinced me 100%. First 4 episodes. I
Like,
am
yeah, if
now
you
like we don't even need to like. That's the sad thing. This was so good writing that trying to change it makes it fucking awful. No, no, don't even touch that. First 4 episodes. You get the build up, the past information, and and the final little hurrah of them in New York. Maybe even the first 6 episodes. You can cut out little bits and pieces, but you don't need to cut out that much. Like not a lot happens. Like
well,
it makes it sound like it wasn't. Because I remember watching the show and I'm thinking about myself after you guys were talking about. I'm like, yeah, no, like perfect fucking hit is those first
well, I
episodes.
mean, if you think about most movies being about 2 hours, right?
Yeah,
Or an hour and a half, each episode, if you cut out commercials, is about 25 minutes. So you
yeah,
put 4 25-minute episodes together and you've got a full length movie.
yep, yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
And I so Dark, if we were going for like a full movie for the full series, yes,
Mhm.
you would need more than one movie. But if you're just trying to get people interested in the series, because anymore, that's what they do. Like,
Yeah,
how many people would have picked up the Aragon books if the Aragon movie, and I hate the Aragon movie, but if the Aragon movie hadn't come out, how many people would have picked up the books? Lord of the Rings, if the Lord of the Rings movies hadn't come out, how many people would have picked up the books? I mean, a lot of these
unfortunately.
movies, and I hate how a lot of them actually deviate from the original story because Ready Player One. But if you look at how it can actually boost people to look at the source material, the first 4 episodes would be great because then they'll be like, well, what happens next? What happens to the gargoyles? Well, oh, good thing there's an animated series that tells you exactly that.
Yeah. That's exactly how I'm looking at it. We need to take in consideration that we don't want to do the whole series. The whole series to this was a bad idea. Video game, I could see doing multiple things. This, no, you have a great TV show that doesn't need it, and it could have led to some more. It could have led to some more support at the time. So
Its downfall came when they started outsourcing it, in all honesty.
It really did, yeah.
There's an episode where I specifically remember Elisa being animated a lot in the same way that Jasmine was animated in the animated series. Like, their eyes it was a very Disney princess look. And I was like, whoa, that's not Elisa, that's knockoff Jasmine. What the heck? So
yeah, but we are getting off topic. So we'll move on from that. So the big question, do we keep this animated or do we actually do a live action movie? So we'll start with Dark. Animated or live action movie? Do you think we could do a live action movie?
Yeah, I think a live action movie can be done.
Okay.
Or could have been done in the 90s. And I think that the talent was there and the climate was there, was welcoming for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the question is, how do you do the prosthetics? But Nessie, do you believe we could do a live action, or should we do a?
Well, as someone who's been trained in stage makeup, I think live action could work with a mix of prosthetics and with a mix of animatronics and robotics. Because if you look at the Jim Henson Workshop and the things that they were doing even back in the 70s, I think that it would have been very possible. And if you would have used the new computer graphics at the time sparingly for like distances and stuff like that, I think it would have worked. But practical effects, in my opinion, would be the way to go. I know Spooker and I kind of disagree on practical effects versus computer, but I think that there are definitely instances where computer can enhance, but there's also instances where computer can hurt. And in the 90s, that was very true. It became very dated very quickly. So to cut my analysis, that's been very long, a little shorter, you would have to have practical effects, animatronics, stage makeup, and actors willing to put through the torture of the hours that it takes to put that makeup on. I would suggest body doubles, which has been done in Hollywood for many, many years, and then the voice actors to fill their roles.
To dub, yeah. Yeah, except for like Xanatos, because Xanatos, we really don't need a...
Well, obviously, we're talking about the gargoyles. They need to be... you need the Jim Henson or Stan Winston or any top tier workshop to create them. And you need tall people to play the gargoyles, like very tall people. Maybe wrestlers. I don't know. No wrestler in particular comes to name because they're just there for physique, not for acting.
Well, Rey Mysterio as Brooklyn.
Possibly. He's agile enough. But no, I think the gargoyles themselves can be handled by voice actors. Like the Ninja Turtles. They were 100% voice acted. The guys in the suits had like cameo parts throughout the movie. But they didn't do the voices. The Turtles themselves were post-production and do the same with the gargoyles. And ideally, I would say keep the original voice cast from the show, but if, for example, if unfortunately some studio execs come and say, no, we need star power, I will fight to keep Keith David. You can change everyone else, but Keith David cannot be replaced as Goliath.
But even live action humans could be replaced. So look at Darth Vader. Like, his actor was physically perfect for the role, but they got the legendary James Earl Jones to be the cinematic voice of Darth Vader. And nobody blinked an eye about that. I mean, It was
everyone
just
was fine with that.
like if you picture anyone else as Darth Vader, you just can't. Like, yeah, you just can't.
It just
So
doesn't work.
so there, you know, like I mean, to be fair, they did take off the helmet eventually, and you did hear/see the original actor. But my point is, if we had to, it's not beyond the realm of possibility to even dub in the voice actors over the physical actors.
Yeah. My theory is this: is like we do keep the actor, like we do keep the voice actors, and do body doubles. The cast is simple. We have ourselves that the only person I think that could do both roles is the actress who did Diana Troy, the voice actress. I think she had enough skill that she could pull off the voice acting and be that gargoyle. Of course, I don't know if she would. Prosthetics are a fucking bitch.
But is she tall
Yeah.
enough? I mean, even Demona is taller than people.
Oh, she's tall. She's pretty tall, and she's also by
like
wearing
they
all that
dwarf.
prosthetics.
They have to dwarf.
But if
humans.
you're talking about size, okay, you look what they did in Lord of the Rings with the hobbits. The hobbits were not little people; they were all normal sized. No offense, normal sized actors they used cinematics to make look smaller.
Yep.
And the same thing with Gimli, the dwarf. He was played by
A tall man.
John Rhys
Oh,
Davies,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
made
she's
him
tall.
minuscule compared to the others using cinematics. So it doesn't even have to be an extremely tall actor. Using cinematics, you can create the illusion of height. But it would be easier, granted, if you had an actor tall enough.
the Tom Cruise, what's it called? Style. Get a box for him to stand on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like he like the guy who played Gimli, Gimli, sorry.
No,
yeah, he's a
Gimli.
big
There's
man.
no R.
Okay. No, he's a big man. Like if you ever see him, he's a tall guy. Like I remember him from Shifters, Sliders.
John
Yeah,
Rhys Davies? He's not that tall.
He's tall. He's a bigger man than most people think. Like he was a tall guy.
I don't know, dude. I've seen him in Princess Diaries too. He wasn't very tall in there.
Yeah, but he's also older than.
That's true. And
Bottom
age
line-
does shrink people. I will admit that. Age does shrink people.
So
Yep.
we're on agreement. Keep the original voices. And
Yeah, I used to be a
if-
bigger orc, but now I've lost at least 3 feet since my age. Yep.
So keep the original voices, but if we could only keep one, Keith David is the one to keep. Just saying.
Yeah. So who are we going to have as Roland there, or Owen, or yeah,
Owen.
yeah. So who do we want for that? My thought process is Christopher Lambert.
Possible.
Possibly. Not many actors come to mind for me.
Highlander. Because you know what, he's a good one. I would also say Adrian Paul could pull it off, but that would be Highlander TV show. I think
Actually,
he could do it.
Now that I'm looking at the picture of Christopher Lambert when he was young, I'm actually in agreement. He does have the look. Just cut his hair short, give him glasses, and dye his hair more blonde.
Yep.
Yeah,
He's supposed to be a serious, statuesque man. He's basically Xanatos' yes man, and he does not even once crack a smile. Maybe a smirk, but not a smile.
Yep.
At least not in the first 2 seasons.
Yep.
He's Xanatos' Smithers without the gay.
No. Smithers is to never even in no, don't no, just no. Don't ever compare Owen to Smithers. Never.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. I agree with her on that one. All right. So we have our cast, we have our list. I think we have a movie, guys. What do you think?
No, we
You think
don't.
that
And as far as star power is concerned, because I know that's a concern. Star power wasn't a thing for Disney really until later.
Yeah.
With Robin Williams.
Robin
but
Williams.
Star Trek, which is where they pulled the majority of their actors from for Gargoyles, Star Trek was a big thing in the 90s. Very popular. So I believe it would have been enough star power to bring people in.
Yeah. I think the only person that might have like I said, someone who's not a fan of Star Wars, maybe there
Star
might
Trek.
be. Oh, sorry, Star Trek. Sorry.
You're going to offend the Trekkies.
Yeah. Well, there's so little of them left, it doesn't matter.
What he's trying to say very gently is new Star Trek sucks just as bad as new Star Wars.
Damn straight. So, yeah, we have ourselves a decent... Yeah, we have ourselves a movie. I think.
And
like, do we need to...
Elisa?
Yeah.
Elisa, yeah. You notice how I'm the only one who knows the characters' names? Jiminy.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a very long time. I enjoy it, but it's not on my...
I haven't watched it since I watched it with Dark, but I still know their names.
Yeah, I don't know the names. I had a couple of the comics. I'm not a big names guy. If anybody, it comes with being an orc and a war chief. Why would I remember your name? I'm gonna send you to the front lines anyway. So
my choice is Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
No.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Sorry, when I see Cameron Diaz, I think Charlie's Angels and that airhead that she played. Not the real Charlie's Angels, by the way. The real Charlie's Angels was awesome. The cinematic movie that they made in the 2000s was god awful.
There is no other Charlie's Angels. There's only the original TV series.
Exactly.
Yeah, the first one was fun. We'll have to watch that one day. But it was fun, but that's about as far as I'll go. It was fun. I don't find
it felt like a spoof of the series.
It really did. We'll have that. We'll have a conversation when we finally go to watch that. So
it felt like the Spaceballs version.
Yeah, we'll like I said, we'll talk about it when we do the movie one of these days for future review. So, do you guys think we have a movie?
I mean, the only thing I could think of is like discussing further cast members, but if we're just doing the first 4 episodes, we don't need to go beyond that.
No.
We could discuss who's going to play Princess Catherine, and the guard, and then the Viking that betrays them. But I see no harm in Clancy Brown playing the Viking he voices. I don't see the harm in that.
Same. He's a good actor.
And then
can't help but want Sean Connery in there somewhere.
I know you can't help but want him in there, but he doesn't fit.
I would say if you're gonna put Sean Connery, you make him the wizard.
Okay.
I mean, but he doesn't even fit the Magus because the Magus is a teenager. Well, late teens, early 20s. You could have him do the narration of the beginning instead of Goliath if you really want him in there somewhere.
Yeah, I kind of agree with her.
If I'm gonna, like I said, I would fight to keep Keith David, but I think Sean Connery would be the old gargoyle if that was the scenario I was in, not being able to get...
I mean, if you had to make it today, you couldn't have him or Ed Asner because they're both dead. Unfortunately, both of those great men are gone. But
yeah. I can't think of... I'm actually thinking about it. Not to sound mean to the matter, I don't think there's a thing like... Let's be honest.
In a pinch, you could switch John Rhys Davies for Sean Connery for Macbeth, but that's probably the only place you could fit him in. And I wouldn't do that because John Rhys Davies is amazing. So
yeah, I said that's my problem too. I don't see a single way to bring him into this one.
And by the way, if I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry. I've literally never heard it pronounced officially. So
Yeah, my vibe still goes on the thought process of just saying I think we have a movie. I don't think we need to really worry about the other characters right now. I think we have everything we need to make a decent movie.
Right, or at least get it greenlit.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s. Today, it couldn't be made. The subject matters that were dealt with at the time, and we're not going to get into that because it's another discussion entirely. But I don't think Gargoyles could be made today because the discussion of keeping things PC, politically correct, would be the giant roadblock. There would be no getting past it because
I hate to say it, like let's be honest here. There is nothing to be said. It's unfortunate that there's no fucking way. Like no one wants this movie. Let's be fucking honest. No one wants like they don't want a continuation of the Gargoyles movie.
Well, to be honest, no one wanted the Cowboy Bebop movie, but we got that anyway.
Yeah, I know, but no one wants that. Like doing it in the '90s, it could work. Doing it now, there is such a hate on for live action. But we are getting completely off topic. I think we have ourselves a movie, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree.
Okay.
A respectful movie that does the series justice. And to build on what Nessi said, PC or no PC, I don't think anything after the 2000s, almost nothing was faithful to its source material for so many reasons.
So yeah,
I can't.
I guess what I'm saying is stop messing with our childhood. Okay, leave the classics. Let them be what they are. Stop trying to capture lightning in a bottle twice because it's not going to happen.
Yeah, even though people have a hard on and love the thing called love the afterlife. I can't deny it's like it's not Ghostbusters. To me it's Ghostbusters, but it's not Ghostbusters.
It was a good homage. It was a good homage to the original, unlike the other version we won't mention.
Yeah, so I think we have ourselves a movie that respects it. I think we have a Batman Mask of the Phantasm situation going on here, and I think it's a decent love letter to the show. So yeah,
that could be another good discussion though for future.
Yes, it is.
What if a live action movie was made of Batman the Phantasm?
Yeah, Mask of the Phantasm. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for listening. I'd like to thank Nessi and Dark, and you guys have a very good one, and we will see you all next time. Like, subscribe.